The very first step on this project is writing your name on your paper. Yours is black, mine is white right now. But you're going to write your name. My name is Brittany Bowen. You're writing your name and write your teacher's name, not my name. I'm your art teacher. I want your usual classroom teacher's name. So if you are in Miss Braden's class, you write Braden on there, or whoever your teacher is, okay? That way these won't get lost. Sometimes they're going to be on the drying rack away from your folders, and we don't want them to get lost forever. To do that, you can flip it over, and we're going to draw on the other side of it. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to draw our owl. That's our first step, the first thing we need. I'm trying to get my example up. Okay, I'm using an orange paper, and that is just because it was going to be too hard for you to be able to see on the video with black. So you're going to have black. You're also going to be using a pencil. Again, I'm using a marker because it's too hard for you to see on this video if I use a pencil, okay? But otherwise, everything's going to be the same. So the first thing you want to do is try to kind of figure out where is the middle of your paper. So you can kind of just guess. Mine, I'm thinking it's about right here. That looks about the middle, top and bottom, and the middle, left and right. I'm just going to put a little dot. It does not need to be a big dot. You're going to end up covering it in the end, but I just want to do a dot. This is going to help us find our middle, okay? So a little dot. Now the first thing we're going to do is his body, the owl's body, and it's pretty simple. We're just going to draw a rainbow line that goes pretty much all the way to the edge, maybe a little bit shy of that edge. So I'm going to go from the middle down to about here, okay? And if you're not sure about it, you can kind of do a ghost, I call this ghost drawing, where you just pretend to draw with your finger to kind of measure it. So I'm going to just go for it. Boom, yeah, like that. Yours might not look exactly the same as mine. That's okay. We're all different artists, right? So if yours looks a little different, that's okay. Now I need to do the same thing on this side, all the way down. Boom. Okay? And notice that doesn't totally look perfect. Those don't look even, but it's abstract art. That's the nice thing, is it doesn't really matter. Ha ha ha. Okay, the next thing we need is his head, and this is where it kind of gets fun. We're gonna draw basically this, but upside down. So we're gonna draw from that middle line all the way up, and I'm gonna touch all the way to the top of the paper there. You can make it, you might wanna make it, well, I don't know. Either smaller or bigger, you choose. You don't want his head to be super tiny. You want it to go out pretty wide. I'll show you. Boom, up to the top. Up to the top. So he's got a pretty big head. It looks about the same size as his body, maybe even a little bigger. Okay, so we've got our two U shapes. Now for the ears, owls have two little pointy ears. So we're going to start up at that top corner where we met the edge of the paper and just draw a nice triangle, just a diagonal line down to about there. We don't want it to go too far down, right? It's just little ears. So just down a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, there's my two ears. And then we'll just draw a little kind of straight, maybe slightly curvy line to connect. Mine's pretty straight looking. So there's his head. Now I want to draw some feathers on the top of his head, but here's the thing. We need to remember we're going to be adding, once we finish drawing, we're going to be tracing all of this with glue. And glue tends to spread. It doesn't like to stay nice and neat and thin, okay? So when you're doing these feathers up here, you don't want them to be too close together because the glue will get all crazy. So I'm just gonna do a couple of zigzag, kind of like the letter M. I'm gonna do a bunch of letter M's up here, but I'm gonna make sure they're really spread out. So like, woo, woo, woo. So my glue is in the way. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. That's spread out enough so that I know my glue will be able to go on there and not be crazy, okay? So there's my feathers. Now for the eye shapes, I like to kind of make, I don't know what shape this is. It's like a teardrop almost. So I'm gonna keep following this line of his ear, and I'm gonna keep it going down and out, but then curve it, boom, kind of around like that. And you'll see what this makes in a minute. But anyway, you kind of do that curvy line, and then I'm gonna do it on this side too. I'm gonna go out and in, curvy little teardrop. That's my teardrop eye. Now for my eyeballs, I'm gonna start maybe about like 2 or 3 fingers high. So if you start on the bottom of your little teardrop, 1, 2, 3, right about at that 3rd finger, I'm gonna draw a straight line that goes right across from the inside of the teardrop to the outside, okay? And then same on that other side, about 1, 2, 3, about right there. I'm gonna make my straight line across. And you'll notice this teardrop's a little skinnier than this one. It's not a big deal. Abstract art, that's the beauty of it, okay? That's gonna be the bottom of his eye. The top of his eye is we're gonna kind of follow that same curve and do, it's like a little U shape that kind of connects, or I guess upside down U, a rainbow line that connects them. So now it's like there's a circle in there underneath this kind of shape. Do the same on this side. Boop. Those are gonna be the 2 eyes. Now, this top part is the eyelid. Down here is where we're gonna put the actual parts of the eye. So we have an iris in our eye, which is the part that has color in it. So if you have brown eyes or blue eyes or green eyes, here's how you draw an iris. We're just gonna start a little bit over here, maybe 1 finger away from the edge, and do a curvy line that meets the bottom. Curvy line. And then same on this side, about 1 finger in, a curvy line that meets the bottom. I'm gonna do the same on this side. So that's gonna be the iris. Then the inside is a pupil. It's a big black part of our eye. You can make this big or small. I like to make them big because owls have big eyes. Plus it's easier for the glue, because the gluing part, remember, it spreads easy. So I like to make big irises. Okay, right now it's still just looking like a funky little thing, but once we add the beak, it's gonna really look like an owl. You can choose one of 2 kinds of beaks. Let me show you on a different paper before you decide. Beak number 1 is just gonna be a normal triangle that's upside down. Boom, boom, boom. That's 1 beak. Another way you can do it is a curvy beak. You start off like a triangle with a flat line here, but instead of 2 straight lines, I'm gonna curve it a little. I'm gonna curve. That one curves out. This one's gonna curve the same way. 2 curving lines that curve the same way, okay? So, on my little beak, let me make sure I'm centered here. I think I kind of like the curvy beak, so I'm gonna do a curvy one. And I'm just gonna kind of decide, you don't want it to be up above his eyes, right? You can kind of start in the middle of his eyes and go down to there. So I'm gonna start up here. And I'm gonna do that curvy beak. Boom. If you want, you can add 2 little nostrils too, a little dot and a little dot. That's where they breathe, okay? Now it's looking like a cute little owl. How fun. The last part is we need to add a little bit of detail to his body. His little chest is in here, and then he has 2 wings. So to draw his chest, we're just gonna draw 2 straight lines down his body. You might have a skinnier owl or a fatter owl with thin wings. Oops, I just made a dot out here. We'll color over it, don't worry. So I have my 2 lines that I just drew. And then I'm gonna add 2 little feet at the bottom. These are super simple. You're just gonna make Again, I'd probably start maybe only 2 fingers up from the bottom. So 2 fingers right there. I'm gonna start and just make one line that goes all the way to the bottom, straight up and down, and then same over here. 2 lines. And then you kind of turn it into 2 little forks. So down about halfway down the line, I'm gonna do boop, boop. Remember, you don't want them to be too close together because of the glue. That might even be too close. I might have messed that up. I want to make it wider and wider. Okay, those are his feet. I think we should add a cute little, kind of like an oval shape for where his chest feathers would be. So I'm just going to do a big, wide oval that goes all the way up, all the way down. So now it looks like he's got his wings, this little feathered chest. If we want, we could add a couple more little sections on his feathers. These sections are going to be colored in all beautifully, right? So maybe we could add, honestly, these are pretty small. Maybe I could add one more line here and here, just to break it up a little, so we could do 2 different colors in there. That could be a different color. It's up to you. You don't have to add lines if you don't want, if you liked how he looked. So that is our owl. The next thing that you'll do once you have it drawn is we'll glue it. You're gonna take glue and you're gonna trace every single line that you just made with it. Whew. I recommend, before I even start on that, I'm gonna take a scratch paper and I'm just gonna see how my glue comes out, maybe practice doing a line, just so I can get the hang of it, because you want to stay pretty straight on your lines, okay? So my glue is seeming good. I think I'm ready to start. I'm not going to make you watch my whole process of gluing. I'll fast forward to the end, but I just want to show you how I get started. Ooh, dots are hard. Those nostrils are going to be tricky. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do this whole thing, and I'm going to skip to the end where I have it all glued. Ta-da! Once you're all finished gluing, you really want to make sure you get every single line that you drew. Then I'm going to screw my glue shut. We don't want to have messy glues. That makes me really sad. Okay, make sure our glue is nice and clean. And then we're going to take this lovely owl to the drawing rack. Take it with 2 hands because you don't want it to bend or droop. The glue will drip and be sad. Take it with 2 hands to the drawing rack, and we're ready for the next step next time.